I think this comes back to, again, the idea of both an investor needs to, in each specific transaction, maybe understand what their edge is, but then also broadly, understand if you're going to be an investor, why does my strategy have an advantage over all the other people out there who are very smart, very diligent, have huge research staffs, and have all these resources at play to try to make the same decision, and we're all very well compensated for this, so there's a lot of desire to do as well as possible. So for me, when I was thinking about FarView, I thought about, okay, where can I have it? Where can I have the advantage? One is, I think, and this is a critical one that a lot of investors can have, is a long-term time horizon, because it is a fact of life that many fund managers are judged quarterly, monthly, even sometimes on very short-term bases. But if nothing, most fund managers don't have a shareholder base that's going to be more patient than at best annually. And so sometimes there are opportunities wherein the near term looks very scary. The business, probably will perform terribly for the next 12 months, but that is more than priced into the security because everyone doesn't want to hold it for the next year because it could perform terribly. But you could see something over 3 or 5 years where there's a lot of positives for that company. So that is an area where it's just investors talk about business decisions versus investing decisions. A pure, perfect investing decision is you buy the best securities, the best risk reward, but sometimes doing that can be harmful for the investing business. It can lead to outflows of assets, it can lead to client defections, and at some point, especially if you have a big infrastructure, that becomes a real problem for the business. So sometimes investors are forced to make decisions for the business instead of just pure investment decisions. And I think that long-term versus short-term problem fits in that area. So for me, when I started out, one of the things that I insisted on was a 3-year lockup, which is, I think, a bit longer than normal for publicly traded securities. And the real reason for that was a little bit of a kind of a self-selection for my investors. If they are not comfortable with those kind of terms, then perhaps they're not comfortable with the kind of investing that I want to do. Plus, also, when you're staring at wildly declining markets, like last fall and a little bit like some of them recently, it is easier to make what you believe are very good bets over the long term if you're comfortable that your business can survive for the long term. So that was one of the reasons why I was really focused on having a structure that emphasized the long term. The second was the flexible investment mandate, and I think that's one where this was really kind of, I think, from Jay Goldman, because we looked at equity, credit, various geographies, and the idea being that it's a very tough game to say, oh, I know telecoms better than the other 200 guys following the telecom industry. But there are times when weird things happen in industries and specific companies and geographies and asset classes, and being able to pick and choose those times of extreme distress where you're not arguing about, oh, which multiple should I use, or should our margins going to be 39% or 40%, that being able to pick and choose those areas of extreme mispricing are a huge edge, and that people who are sector focused or asset class constrained or geographically constrained, they can't take advantage of those opportunities because it's not part of their mandate. And then I guess the third thing just is the small size, and that's, I guess, relatively self-explanatory. I mean, the opportunity set above a certain amount of assets is much smaller and much more competitive. As a smaller firm, we can take advantage of some more off the beaten path opportunities that will be challenging to put a lot of capital into, but at our size are still attractive and can still contribute meaningfully to the fund.